Hey, hey. Okay, am I liking this filter? I don't know. Hey, loves. Maybe this one's a bit lighter. I was all excited to do this live stream. I was feeling really passionate, and now I'm feeling like a bit vulnerable. I'm like, what am I saying again? Anyway, so I'm not going to try and get it perfect, because this is exactly what my live stream is about, is fucking it up, really, is allowing myself to fuck it up and not have to get it perfect. So I just ran my 3-day integrated women's event on the weekend, and it was really interesting. I had some self-doubt come up, which I have this thing, right, that happens with me where I have this kind of doubt come up of, I'm gonna help the woman to get the transformations, because all these women are at different levels, and it's just kind of like the women have done a lot of work. Am I going to be able to like get them the results that they're after? Like, these kind of things go around in my head. And at every event, it always like gets results. Like, I just, it's this kind of little thought that I have there at first, and then when I see them getting the transformations, like, it's providing some reassurance for me, obviously. And especially at the end, we do a gratitude circle, and people get to share what experiences they've had and the connections they've made. But I really noticed on this weekend in particular, there was this self-doubt that really came up. And like, this work I've been teaching for a while now, so it wasn't like I was teaching something new, but there's this, and I knew there was something more to this, like there's something going on here. And what had come up in my space in the last week is this piece of, it's like some shame sitting there, and I processed it with a friend, actually. I was talking to her about the stuff that was coming up for me. And we found this, I'm really struggling to articulate this. Okay. And this is a piece of it. This is a piece of it that's coming through right now. So this is me and my vulnerability around this. It's like this piece of, I don't know everything. And I have this fear that I'm going to fuck it up. That I'm not going to say the right thing, that I'm going to say something wrong, that I'm going to not know everything, this underlying thing of being wrong, right? And this is the shame piece, and I think so many of us struggle with. So this is why I wanted to address it, because I think sometimes we see people that are in teaching roles and facilitating roles, and that seem to appear to have their shit together. But we're all just the same as everyone else. Like, I still doubt myself. I still feel shame. I still feel guilt. I still feel these different emotions, and I'm still getting my shit together, right? Like, I think this is a theme that came up over the weekend. I find every event that I run, it seems to have an underlying theme. And this was really about, like, that we don't have to have it all together. And so many women in particular, I know men have it too, but in particular, is this whole concept of having to appear like we have our shit together, like, and to be this ideal woman. Like, there's this concept of the trying to be the ideal woman, to prove and to please and to be perfect. And I say, fuck that. Fuck that. And to show up instead and exactly as we are, however that looks, right? That we don't have to get it right all the time, that we can fuck it up, that we can fail, that, even when we're in a teacher role, in a facilitator role, that we're still human, right? We're still human, and we still feel, and it's okay to fail or not say the right thing, right? There's times when I'll do live streams and I'll be like, ooh, did I say the right thing? Did that come out right? I'll sometimes watch myself back and, maybe I could have said that differently. And I catch myself in that. I'm like, no, just let it be what it is. But there's also a lot of vulnerability sometimes around people that have a lot of knowledge or really intelligent, is like, oh, is what I'm saying, like, is this the right knowledge? ultimately, I think that the most expert we are is in our own experiences and in ourselves and our stories and what we've been through is what we're really an expert at. Because there's so many different teachings in different ways. Like, Tantra, for example, you can have 2 Tantra teachers that teach completely different things, right? And there's so much dogma around that. And, that's what stopped me from really stepping into my power and talking about Tantra for a long time, is because, I'm not some Tantric master that's been doing this for 20 or 30 years. But yeah. So I think I just really wanted to bring this piece up around this perfectionism and what happened for me on Sunday morning. This was the last day of the event. I woke up, I got up at 6 o'clock. I went and I got online and I had my coffee, got online and I just was commenting on giving some advice on some posts. And then I think I was writing a post, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what I was doing now, but it was all about me. No, that's right. I was sharing some advice. And then I was going on YouTube and I was learning some more stuff, right? I was like, oh, I've had these things pop into my head. It's like, oh, I need to learn about that. And so I'll Google it and then I'll learn stuff. And I'm always constantly learning, like audio books, reading books, videos, like constantly learning, like as much as I can, right? Now I realized that under this constant need to learn is this avoidance of being perceived as dumb. And there's this whole thing that's really coming up in my space right now. And I know that it's been there, on associating my worth with my intelligence. And who, it's like almost like if I didn't have that, who am I? And am I a worthy woman? And really discovering my worth without that, discovering like me worthy just for being me, without having something to share about, without having knowledge, without, just for me, right? And so I think this is a common piece for so many of us, is like, where do we, and this actually brought this up on Sunday morning, where do we seek external validation? Where do we seek, like, where are we looking for worth? Where are we attaching our worth in ourselves? Where are we attaching our worthiness to something that we provide or how we show up? And who are we without that? And who am I without that? Without these titles and things like that. So this kind of piece is coming through for me. So on Sunday morning, kind of backtracked a little bit and going around in circles, but that's just how I roll. So which if you listen to me and watch me often, you'll realize that, right? Is that how often are we, no, hang on, lost my track of thought now. See, I just did it. By the way, this is a woman thing. This is called diffuse awareness, okay? And this is another piece that I've had to learn. I've learned about women so I can understand my brain and how I work. And one of the things I'm aware of is called diffuse awareness. And this is why women go on to different tangents. So we're talking about one thing and then we're over here talking about this. And yeah. So interesting that you say that, Colin. I'm getting to that in a minute. About the dumb thing, right? So this is why I try not to read comments, because I get into diffuse awareness and then I get off the whole point and then I get distracted. Okay, so I'm actually going to swipe that. I love your comments, but I got to swipe it, otherwise I get distracted. So Sunday morning, I had gone and done all that stuff on the listening and the commenting and all that sort of stuff. And then I went and I sat on my bed. And I felt shitty at myself. And I was shitty at myself because I went, you know what, EJ, you could have been at the beach right now. You could have been at the beach. And that's really what I wanted to do. What I really wanted to do was to get up and go to the beach. That, in my heart, that's what I wanted to do. But no, I got up and I got online and I commented and blah, blah. And so I went into my room, in my Tantra room. And this is where I like to process stuff as well. So if emotions are coming up, and I was like, as I was feeling frustrated, I wanted to let out like this frustration, which I often do through like hand screaming and punching pillows and things like that. And I just dropped to my knees and I started crying, like this full on crying. I haven't cried like that for a long time. And it was just like, this like deep shame, And I literally cried for 45 minutes. Yeah, I had to message my events assistant and be like, okay, I'm going to be like, well, I was still on time for the event, but I'm going to be a little bit late. Can you take care of things? yeah, and so, and what I'll sometimes do is I'll get a mirror out and I'll look in the mirror, and this is to give myself words of comfort and self-soothing. And I just went to hold up the mirror, and the words I wanted to say were trying to say was, I know you're afraid. I know you're afraid. And as soon as I held up the mirror, like, I just started bawling and bawling, like, because there's just all this fear coming up. And you know, the words that were coming to me were, even if you lost everything you worked so hard for, you're still lovable. Even if you completely fuck things up, you're still lovable. You know, even if you don't get it right, you're still lovable, right? And yeah, it was just this energy of like, you're still worthy, like, even if, you know, you do fail. And so this deep kind of feel of failure came up. And so, yeah, and then when I got to my event, I shared this is what I shared, and then we went around the circle and we each opened and shared a vulnerability, something that we hadn't told anyone or felt really like some deep shame about. And that is the first step in healing. Like, I believe is like when we really own something and when we can tell someone about it. Because usually we'll get met. I mean, it depends on the person, obviously, and if they have the willingness to hold space and hear you, which is why I provide the spaces that I do with my coaching and my events. It's really about creating safe space. After my event, I recorded some testimonials, and every single woman, the main thing they talked about was how safe the space was for them to open up and really share their vulnerabilities. So that's something I'm really, really passionate about, and it really opens my heart to be able to hear women share things that they may have never shared with anyone, especially in a public, not that it was public, but it's a safe space, but just, you know, in a group of women where they can share and create connection and be heard. And that in itself can really heal shame. So this is why I'm here. This is why I'm sharing this, is because I want to own this piece that sits inside me, this piece of shame that is so afraid to fuck things up, and that, you know, that I maybe don't have it all together, and that I still feel like a little girl sometimes, and I'm still trying to make my way in the world, and I'm still like, I get scared and I feel afraid sometimes, and it still sits there for me. It's not like I'm just a magical being that's like totally healed, you know. And that even people that are in these roles of teaching are still human. We're still so human. Yeah. And when I was processing this thing with my friend around my intelligence and associating my self-worth with my intelligence, because that's how I grew up. I grew up that, you know, at school I was very much like kind of one of the girl, like invisible, felt very invisible, but my intelligence was what I got noticed for. Like, I was like a straight A student and never failed anything. And so I knew that, like, this is how I associated my worth with my intelligence. As long as I'm successful and prove my intelligence, then I'll be noticed, basically, and then I'll be loved. So that kind of thing. So and so what we did when we processed this is that we found this shadow of mine, which is to do with the shadow of dumb. Like, it's almost like what I was doing was like so avoiding being dumb, like appearing to be dumb, because when I was a child, there's something in the space about being dumb, like an avoidance of being dumb. And so it's like, sometimes we'll go out and we'll do everything we can to not be that thing, right? To not be that thing. And then that makes us like a part of us that we're not willing to own. So what came through is, when I was processing this, was that there's this part of me that is really dumb. Like, this part of me, like, but it's a silly part of me. It's this fun part of me. It's this like jokey part of me that I've shut down, you know. And there is this, and this is still me, like, this is still in me. And the thing that popped into my head was like that I want to go and buy these silly pens that have things like funny things on the end that I think that because I'm not a kid anymore, that I shouldn't buy those things. Like, that's for kids, that's not for me, right? And I used to, you know, make all these Snapchat videos that were heaps of fun and silly. And then I was like, well, I can't do that anymore because that people won't take me seriously. Like, people need to like take me seriously and listen to what I have to say. And like, I have to make sure that I give them good knowledge and all sort of stuff. But there's still this part of me that wants to be silly sometimes and joke around and not be too serious all the time, right? So this is this dumb part of me that, so that's that. And I think that, you know, especially with your business and when you are your business, it's like, oh, you have this responsibility to show up in a certain way. But the thing is, like, my message is about vulnerability and being all of you, right? All of us. And so I'm going to show up in all of me, however that looks, whether it's more serious and heartfelt and connected and holding space and empathetic, you know, or if it's more funny and silly and however that looks, or whether it's more wild woman and like, here's me in my fucking power, like, which is also coming through strongly for me at the moment, about me really standing in my power, like really strongly, especially with women. That's really coming up for me right now, is really standing in my power with women. So when I was at my event, one of my clients and friends, she gifted me this pen with a freaking unicorn on the end of it. Like, how cool is it? Like, yes, this is the awesomest pen ever. And yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I love unicorns. I love unicorns. So this is me just owning this piece. And I know I've been rambling on, but I'm not apologizing for that because that's part of who I am. So yeah. And so my gratitude, if you're still here listening, thank you. And I hope that this gives you permission to go out and be all of you, you know, however that looks, and all your different flavors and all your different energies, and show up in things that make you feel afraid, in things that make you feel shame, in ways that you're afraid of failing, and just to show up in any way, just to show the fuck up. However that looks, you know, I'm big on putting myself in places where I feel vulnerable, to break through those things. And so my big piece with that is that even though I may show up as an expert, underneath that sometimes is this fear of being made wrong. And then I don't know it all, and I don't know it all. I don't claim to know it all either, and I am open to learning. All right, so I'm not always going to get it right. I'm not always going to know everything. Sometimes I'm going to completely fuck it up. And sometimes I say the wrong thing, and then I was going to say, I don't believe in the word wrong necessarily, but that's still in my space, you know, still in my space. So so here's to being human, and just give yourself to be human. You don't have to get it perfect. It's okay to not say exactly what you mean sometimes. It's okay to not always be in integrity. Although if you go out of integrity, highly recommend cleaning it up. Because that's when things will flow. Yeah. That's a whole other conversation that I want to do on integrity. The other conversation I'm going to have, or the stream I'm going to do, is around women holding a fuck all vibe towards men. That also really came up at my event, where a number of women realized I've been holding this vibe, and fortunately they're now in the process of really breaking that down, and it's really beautiful to see how much they've opened to men. Oh, so good, so good. This is why I do the work that I do. Anyway, okay, I'm really going to go now. Thank you for everyone who's listened. Let me just check if there's any comments I need to reply to. Yeah, cool. All right, loves. Thank you so much for jumping on, and I hope you have an amazing evening. Yeah, thanks, Colin. Yeah, I really want to embrace more of this silliness. Yeah. It makes me feel really alive, you know. And I feel like I'm just giving myself permission here to fuck things up, like really. Yeah, and to appear dumb, like, yeah, however that looks. And I hope that it gives other people permission to do the same thing as well, because we're only human, right? And we're all deeply lovable. All right. Much love, all you beauties, all you humans. Go fuck things up, please. Allow yourself to fail.